uh, self-awareness is concerned, the self-awareness, the test you have to complete, and then you have to read the 20 self-awareness activities. Right, in the coach study guide, there are 20 self-awareness activities which you have to go through, and you have to select your favorite one. There are 4 quadrants, 5 activities in each quadrant. Even if you work on one activity per quadrant, that is 4 activities out of the 20 activities, you are all set to enhance your self-awareness. So we will address this particular social awareness, and there is a video which we will see all together.
The Johari window. The importance of feedback can be illustrated through the concept of the Johari window. The Johari window is a model created in 1955 by 2 American psychologists, Joseph Left and Harrington Ingham, hence the name. It is used to help people improve self-awareness and mutual understanding between individuals within a group. The Johari window consists of 4 quadrants: the open self, blind self, hidden self, and unknown self, which correspond to the relationship between ourself and others. The open self is the part of ourselves which we are aware of and are known to others. We operate within this area naturally. This is the part of us which is an open book. The hidden self is the part of ourselves which we feel are too private to share with others, because they may also be embarrassing in some way. People may also be scared of discussing these areas due to feelings of vulnerability. The blind self is the part of ourselves which we do not know about, but others can see. It may be something that we imagine ourselves to be, but others do not observe in us at all. For example, a person who thinks that he is intelligent may in reality not actually be seen by others that way. Finally, the unknown self is the part of ourselves which nobody, not even ourselves, know about. This area is often known as our human potential. This may include abilities that are underestimated or untested due to a lack of opportunity, encouragement, confidence, or training. Uncovering this area may lead to the discovery of hidden talent. Note that in real life, these 4 quadrants are never equal in size and often change over time. When it comes to leadership development, we often want to increase people's open area. This is because people who have a large open area are able to inspire trust, are approachable and easy to talk to, and are seen as people who communicate openly and get along well with others. Established leaders will have larger open areas than new leaders, and they should help to facilitate increasing the size of new leaders' open areas. This is done through 2 things: self-disclosure and feedback. Self-disclosure expands the open area downward, decreasing the size of the hidden area. Established leaders can help new leaders expand their open area into the hidden area by asking personal questions. Feedback, on the other hand, expands the open area to the right, decreasing the size of the blind area. This is where 360 feedback comes in. In this instance, team members should strive to help leaders to expand their open area by offering constructive feedback. Now you can see why feedback is so important in leadership development.
So the self-disclosure and the feedback. The first is the self-disclosure. The first, you need to tell people about your dreams, about your values, about your purpose, about your goals. Let people understand you holistically, because people do not understand you holistically. They know that is okay, you are working in this company or doing this job. Do they really know you? Right? In most of the cases is no, they do not really know you. So the first, you have to disclose yourself. And there can be some minus point as well, no problem. So because you can't only brag about yourself, you have to transparently tell. Of course, I'm not asking you to tell some private things or some things which are harmful to you. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about some authentic things about you, including your dreams, purpose, values, and your goals. If you tell that, then they are in a much better position to offer you constructive feedback. And this is the process of social awareness. Now we are going to enter into one of the most important topics of limiting core beliefs. So these are the limiting core beliefs. This particular brain is stopping you to achieve your maximum potential. So between the maximum potential and you, who is there? Your limiting beliefs. Why? Because you are already pure consciousness. You already have in you what you want. Who is between that? Your ignorance. Who is between that? You are not knowing about your true self. Who is between that? Your limiting beliefs about yourself. So when we talk about the core beliefs, what are they? They are not that obvious. They are the roots. They are the root cause of why you believe what you believe, why you do what you do, why you feel the way you feel, why you behave the way you behave. So these are the core beliefs what you have. You have a goggle, and it is colored goggle. Every one of us is wearing a colored goggle, and that is your core beliefs. We are seeing the world through our filters and through our beliefs. That is called as core beliefs. Of course, there are many childhood events, right? Majority of the time our childhood happenings are resulting into we forming the core belief, but few of the core beliefs can be generated in your adulthood as well, as you learn, as you experience, right? So the idea is first is to recognize your core beliefs is the first point, and the second is then the change the limiting core beliefs. If there is any core belief which is helping you, right, which is helping you in your life purpose, no problem, right? Means having no beliefs and having 100% open mind is ideal, right? Most of us are going to have some kind of belief system, but in within that belief system, what kind of beliefs are working for you and what kind of beliefs are not working for you? The beliefs which are working for you, okay, no problem, continue with those particular beliefs. But the beliefs which are not working for you, how to change those particular beliefs with cognitive behavioral therapy, in our case, which is a cognitive behavioral process, right? Because we are not going to enter into the area of therapy, but we are going to enter into the area of cognitive behavioral appraisal, right? So this is what we are going to do. So what is this? A small video.
Hello, this is Gary Van Warmerdam. In this video, I want to give you an introduction into what's involved in changing a belief, and specifically core beliefs. And first, I want to paint a picture of why this might be important. And then I'll cover all the elements that make up a belief that need to be changed. And then it'll be clear why maybe some of your attempts in the past weren't successful at changing emotional reactions or negative thinking or behaviors that were belief-driven. Because if you don't get all of these elements changed, that belief and the habit, emotional reaction, negative thinking often returns. So the first question is, why look into these beliefs? Core beliefs are at the cause of many of our emotional reactions. So if you have jealousy, fear, insecurity, anger, sabotaging behaviors, if you have controlling behavior in a relationship, procrastination, poor money management, not able to stay on a diet and exercise regimen, your core beliefs are driving those poor sabotaging behaviors. Negative thinking itself often is arising from your belief system. That voice of an inner critic, harsh self-judgment, fear of what other people think of you. If you want to change any of these things, emotional reactions, your behaviors, and your negative thinking, core beliefs are typically at the cause, if not in whole, then at least in part. So when we look at the structure of what makes up a belief, we have to look at basically 5 different elements that make up the belief, and sometimes 6 that drive the thought, behavior, emotional reaction. So let's look at the thought, I have to be right. And this thought might also show up as a behavior where we try and one-up with people, or we argue, and maybe it causes unnecessary arguments with your partner. It can make us an unbearable person to be with. So as we investigate the different elements of this example, I have to be right, we're going to say that the thought is I have to be right. The behavior is acting out that way. And in this case, the belief, we'll just say, is I have to be right. But it might not always look this way. The thought might be people are stupid, they don't listen to me. And underneath that might be the belief I have to be right. And from there, we have to look for the next component, which is core beliefs. We'll find thoughts and associations at deeper levels. For instance, people should listen to me. I'm smart. I know what I'm talking about. And if they don't listen, they are morons. Then there might also be other avenues of that. If I'm not right, then I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'm stupid. I hate to be wrong. I hate to be stupid. I hate that people might see me as stupid. If I'm stupid, I'm worthless. I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. And if people see me as a worthless failure that's not good enough, I am worthless. I am a failure. I am not good enough. The surface level, I have to be right, is actually masking this underlying core belief, I'm stupid, I'm worthless, I'm a failure. Is this possible to have? Absolutely. Even if you work at a high level as a lawyer, a doctor, a CEO, you can have this conflicting negative thought in your head and an internal story of fear of failing and a fear of not being good enough. So when we try and change the belief or the behavior of having to be right, we have to dig down to these core belief levels that might be the very opposite. So far in this example, the surface level belief is, I have to be right. When we look down at the core beliefs, we find a number of them. And then the third component we get is emotion. There's the pride and worthiness in feeling that you're right. There's a fear of being wrong, fear people won't listen to me, fear they won't respect me. There can be a righteousness and an anger and a judgment towards people who don't listen. There's this feeling of unworthiness and self-loathing, self-hate for being wrong, for being stupid. All of these emotions are connected to and part of each layer of these beliefs, right down to the core belief. And if we're going to change the belief, the emotions we have connected to each one of these beliefs have to change as well. A belief is more than just the thought or behavior. It includes the emotions that are associated and very much drive these behaviors and thoughts. The next element that has to change is faith. Not the religious version of faith, but this conviction, certainty, this confidence, this knowing. Thoughts by themselves are pretty empty. And this kind of conviction in a certain thought like I'm worthless generates unworthiness. The conviction in I'm right generates a feeling of pride. This conviction justifies anger, and they deserve it in that judgment. So the force of conviction we put behind our thinking is part of our personal power. It's a force that we have to take out of these ideas to turn that convincing thought into an empty thought. One of the ways that you address faith is to apply skepticism and doubt to these thoughts. How you do that is through the next element of the belief system that has to change, which is identity. And often we can put this in terms of ego, as a false sense of ourselves in our mind. With each one of these thoughts, I have to be right, there's an identity, a fear of being wrong. That's an image of us being wrong. A fear people won't listen, another aspect that our mind projects of ourselves. I'm superior to others who are morons. This is an elevated image of ourselves. I'm afraid of being stupid, I am worthless, I am a failure. All of those phrases define ourselves as an identity and seeing ourselves as that is who we are. And when we believe I am worthless, part of us at some level is feeling that's what we are, believing that's what we are, and part of our mind is thinking and creating thoughts from that level and imagining other people see us that way. This is part of the 95% of what our unconscious mind is doing. And the 5% we're aware of is the part where we notice we're trying to be right to cover it up. But it doesn't work. No matter how much we're right, underneath that belief of feeling worthless and stupid is still there. So one of the critical steps in changing these beliefs is to step out of this false identity, and in this case, multiple false versions of ourselves, into a neutral observer perspective. And from that neutral witness observer, we can apply skepticism and not believe these thoughts, and our faith comes out, and this helps reduce the emotion. So changing this perspective is a key step, and one of the first steps that has to be made to effectively change this whole belief system. One more element that sometimes comes into play when changing a belief-driven behavior, belief-driven emotional reaction, is that sometimes beliefs are so strong that they're not just ideas in our head. They're not just emotional responses. They become part of our bodily response. A strong anxiety, panic attack, that takes place in our nervous system. It's a nervous system fight or flight response. But that fight or flight response might show up in a strong jealousy case of insecurity. It might show up in anger. You can see the physical body response just in the posture, say, of a depressed person or an angry person, the way their muscles tense, the way their veins bulge out. Their nervous system is embodying this whole force of a belief system and expressing it. And this is very common in instances where there's been trauma, either from physical abuse or sexual abuse. We've learned to respond to them through our nervous system. So in this case, we have to actually work to change the way our physical body responds. Some methods for changing how our nervous system responds might include EMDR treatments, somatic or myofascial body work. These are ways to address the cellular memory and the nervous system response. As you venture into exploring belief systems, there's something really important to understand. They're not at all simple things like thoughts or ideas. In a way, when we have a belief, it's much like being hypnotized. Being hypnotized is much more than an idea in our head. When we get hypnotized with a belief that we're a chicken, or someone's hypnotized with the belief that they're a chicken, a person acts, feels, behaves under the spell of the suggestion of that belief. Their head and body moves in a way that a chicken moves. They make sounds like a chicken makes. The most tricky thing about when you're hypnotized by some unconscious belief, you don't know that you're hypnotized. The other thing that happens is, under the spell of that belief, you can no longer tell what the truth is. If someone says, "You're not a chicken," you go, "Yes, I am." So you deny the truth. We aren't dealing with the beliefs that are obvious of behaving like a chicken. They have to do with what we believe about ourselves, judgments about ourselves, opinions about other people that make us frustrated or angry, expectations that are unreasonable, that we might believe very much are reasonable. And so in this regard, they're harder to see. So if you want to effectively change a belief, you have to get down to the core belief. And to do that, you investigate the layers. You have to change the emotion that's not just associated at the top level, but you have to change the emotion that's associated at all the levels. You have to change the identity. You have to actually shift your perspective out of this person that feels worthless or believes it's stupid, and recover your faith, the power of conviction about every one of those thoughts at every one of those layers. And in some cases where typically that were created in traumatic events in our past, we have to address what's going on in the nervous system and the cellular memory in the body.
Knowing who you really are gives you tremendous faith. What you think you become, what you feel you attract, and what you imagine you can create. You have all the possibilities, all the potential, all the divine potential within you. But there are limiting beliefs. There is ignorance of your real nature, what brings you back. So beliefs are like, we work with a hypnotized mind. Whatever information which supports our beliefs, our mind accepts. Any supporting information, we will catch like a magnet. And any information, however true it is, however significant it is, if it is not matching with belief, either it is modified or rejected. This is how human psyche works. It is not about the truth. It is about what you think is the truth. What you think is the truth, you will attract that. What you think is not the truth, you will either reject it or you will modify it. This is the intensity, or this is the depth of our belief system. So there are steps to understand your belief system. And there are 6 questions. Again, they are there in your course study guide. So you have to really spend enough time for this. So what is my belief system and what is the underneath core belief? So for example, you believe something, but you need to be vulnerable enough. You need to be authentic enough to really deep dive. That is, what is the real belief I have? What is the real thing I have? What is the real limiting factor I am projecting to the world? Right? I am projecting this to the world, but who really I am? What are my internal fears? What is that I am camouflaging? And work on that internal. Do not camouflage them, because they are going to remain. You are just covering them, right? So they are problems covered. So go to the problem, right? Challenge those particular problem, understand those particular problem, and then understand what is the emotion and experience associated with that problem. Why I am having that particular problem? What has happened in my life which has resulted into I having that particular belief? What is the background of that particular belief and how I feel about that, right? So you have to go to the emotional level. Then you have to simply ask, is this belief helping me, serving me? Answer is yes, fantastic, go ahead with that. If the answer is no, that means it is a limiting belief. Right? Now, against that limiting belief, what is the new belief you want to inculcate? Now you have understood emotional level, the background, the root cause. I am showing this, but means this is the real issue in my mind. Now you have understood everything, right? Now you have understood that it is not serving me. That also you have understood. Question number 3. Now question number 4. Okay, fine, understood, fine. Understanding it is the 50% solution. Now the balance 50% we are going to talk about. In balance 50%, you will say, okay, if not this belief, what is the new belief I want to inculcate? This answer you need to have. And then you will ask how I will prepare myself for that. What I need to do. It is not only positive thinking. Do not think that the secret lies in positive thinking and affirmation. No. Positive thinking and affirmations will support. That's it. They are not in it itself the solution. They are the support mechanism to your solution. You need to act. How you will prepare yourself to inculcate that new belief, and what support I will take from whom. We are all social animals. Already support is available. You have all the resources you need to progress in life, and they are within and around you. I'm just expanding it now. They are within and around you. Look for those support systems around you. Take those particular support system to prepare yourself for that new belief. And then what actions you will take on a continuous basis. This is not an event. This is not a one-time activity. You need to keep reinforcing that new positive belief. That is called a sadhana.